The death of Ögedei saved Europe, but it plunged the Mongol Empire into a decade of dangerous political stagnation. The unity forged by Genghis Khan was cracking. It wasn't until 1251 that a new, strong leader emerged to restore order: Möngke Khan. Möngke was a stern, serious disciplinarian who purged his political rivals and returned the empire to its fundamental purpose: conquest. He looked at the map and made a grand strategic decision to divide the world between his brothers. To the east, his brother Kublai was sent to conquer the rest of China. To the west, his brother Hülegü was given a massive army and a simple, terrifying order: destroy the Muslim states of the Middle East, specifically the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad, the heart of the Islamic world.
Hülegü's army was a juggernaut, estimated at over 150,000 men, possibly the largest expeditionary force the Mongols ever assembled. It moved slowly, bringing with it thousands of Chinese engineers and massive siege engines.
His first target was the Nizari Ismailis, known to the west as the Assassins. This secretive sect operated from impregnable mountain fortresses, specifically Alamut, the eagle's nest in Persia, and had used political assassination to terrorize the region for centuries. The world believed Alamut could not be taken. It sat atop a high rock peak, with limited access. His Chinese engineers constructed massive rigs to haul siege weapons up the steep slopes. The assassins, realizing that their impregnable walls were being dismantled, stone by stone, by an enemy who refused to follow the rules of geography, surrendered. Hülegü dismantled their fortresses and effectively eradicated the order, clearing the path to the real prize. In 1258, Hülegü arrived at the gates of Baghdad. For 500 years, this city had been the center of the Islamic Golden Age, a metropolis of learning, science, and culture, ruled by the Caliph al-Mustasim. The Caliph, believing the entire Muslim world would rise to defend him, arrogantly refused Hülegü's demand for submission, calling the Mongols young men who have not seen the world. It was a fatal miscalculation. No help came. The siege was a showcase of total war. The Mongols surrounded the city with a palisade to ensure no one could escape. They unleashed a bombardment of smoke bombs, burning naphtha, and massive stones. On February 10th, 1258, Baghdad surrendered. What followed was one of the darkest days in human history. The Mongols sacked the city for a week. The House of Wisdom, the world's greatest library, was destroyed. Legend says the Tigris River ran black with ink from the books thrown into it, and then red with the blood of the inhabitants. Estimates of the dead range from 200,000 to merely 1 million. The Caliph himself was captured. Hülegü, mindful of the superstitious belief that spilling royal blood upon the earth would bring disaster, ordered a distinctively Mongol execution. The Caliph was rolled up in a carpet and trampled to death by horses. With this act, the 500-year-old Abbasid Caliphate was extinguished. The psychological shock to the Muslim world was absolute. It seemed that the Mongols were truly invincible, a punishment from God that could not be stopped. Hülegü pushed further west into Syria. The cities of Aleppo and Damascus fell rapidly. The Mongol patrols reached the Mediterranean Sea. The only power left standing in the region was the Mamluk Sultanate of Egypt. The Mamluks were unique. They were a military caste of slave soldiers, many of whom were originally Kipchak Turks from the steppe. They fought like Mongols, rode like Mongols, and understood Mongol tactics better than any European knight. Hülegü sent envoys to Cairo with a terrifying letter: "We have destroyed all who have resisted us. You cannot escape from the terror of our armies. Tear down your walls and submit." The Mamluk sultans responded by executing the envoys and hanging their heads from the gates of Cairo. War was inevitable. Just as the invasion of Egypt prepared to launch, history repeated itself. A messenger arrived. Möngke Khan was dead. Hülegü, a potential successor, had to return east to secure his position. He took the vast bulk of his army with him, leaving behind a holding force of only 10,000 to 20,000 men under his general Kitbuka. The Mamluks, sensing the weakness, advanced out of Egypt to meet them. On September 3rd, 1260, at the Spring of Goliath, Ain Jalut in Galilee, the two armies met. The Mamluk general Baybars executed a risky plan. He used the Mongols' own signature tactic against them, a feigned retreat. He drew Kitbuka's aggressive cavalry into a valley where the main Mamluk army was hiding in the hills. When the trap was sprung, the Mongols were surrounded. For the first time, they were outnumbered and outgeneraled. Kitbuka fought to the death, and the Mongol army was annihilated. Ain Jalut was not just a defeat, it was a psychological turning point. The spell of Mongol invincibility was broken. The expansion into the Middle East and Africa stopped forever. But the greater threat to the empire was not the Mamluks, it was internal. Hülegü never returned to avenge the defeat because he was too busy preparing for war against his own family. The death of Möngke had triggered a crisis. Two brothers, Kublai and Ögedei Burka, were both claiming the title of Great Khan. The universal ruler was gone. Now, it was brother against brother. The Mongol civil war had begun.